Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Blue Truth and Bourbon. I'm your host, Steve, and it is a Wednesday, May 27th, 28th, something like that. I don't even know. 28, I guess. 2025, and we're somewhere around episode 16, 15, 16. So I appreciate you guys being here. If you're watching live or if you're catching this on one of the later feeds or watching it on YouTube. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you paying attention. Um, just appreciate you all around. So thank you very much. Horse Soldier for tonight. So that's the bourbon of choice tonight. I thought I would do kind of a backwards thing, move back a little bit tonight for those who may have not seen my first couple episodes or just joined. May not know who I am, so I thought I'd introduce myself again just as we're warming up here, as we're waiting for folks to log in and take a peek at what we're doing tonight. So my name is Steve, and I am a 25-year veteran of law enforcement. I have a pretty kind of had my irons in a lot of fires where I worked. Obviously, I was on patrol. I worked in the gang unit. I was a detective for several years. I spent 14 years in leadership roles and just retired last year. January 2024 was my retirement date. And so, yeah, so I picked this up, this little, on my gear here. I just decided I wanted to do a podcast just for me. I don't get paid for this. It's not something that I'm trying to monetize at this point, but it's a little cathartic for me. It gives me a chance to get on here and share my opinion. I like to share my experience, share the experience of others, which we will do more of as we move along here. So if you do log in and you're watching the show, don't be afraid to comment. Let me know you're here. Say hey. Like I said, many times I can see how many people are watching. I just can't see who's watching. So if you're watching, give me a shout. Let me know it so that I can give you a shout out. I do this kind of for me, but I'm glad you guys, or some of you enjoy it. Some of you may not. I don't know. We'll see. But, I've had a pretty good following and a pretty loyal following. So you guys are great. I appreciate your comments and I encourage comments. So if you see something that we're doing here and we're talking about and you have an opinion on it, I don't mind you sharing it. In fact, one of the newest things that we have here on StreamYard, which I use, is the comments section. I can add comments to the stage. So you guys can read them. They'll be down here in this corner. If anybody makes a comment, so you guys can read them. So let me know how those works out. Because for me, they're very small over here in the corner. I can't see I can't see what they're written. I see it on my computer. But so if you make a comment, people can read it. Hopefully it doesn't become a distraction. So So tonight, if you noticed any of my earlier posts, we're going to be talking about an officer-involved shooting out in Fountain Valley, California, involving I guess, what we would call in Florida Signal 20, which would be a person who's suffering some sort of mental breakdown, crazy person, if you will. We're going to be talking about that shooting a little bit, talking about some of the things that I saw in the shooting. Like I said, I'm a 25-year law enforcement veteran, so I was a firearms instructor. So I have a little more than just a working knowledge of firearms and tactics. And, I spent a lot of time training, and so in a lot of units that required a lot of training. So as we break down this video, hopefully you guys see things that, raise your the hairs on the back of your neck, give you some sort of, I don't like to Monday morning quarterback, but I think being critical of incidents that we see like this helps us to get better at what we do. And luckily, none of the law enforcement were hurt in this. The individual who was trying to be detained by these officers, unfortunately, did lose his life. And so, we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we'll talk about some things that have kind of led to that seeing this video has led my mind to wander too. And it does that a lot. It wanders a lot. So hopefully if you like what you hear, you'll pass it along to your friends and they'll start watching. My videos are you're going to hear a lot of ums and uhs and stuff like that. I don't edit my videos. I like to be, pretty much let it flow. I like to make sure that it seems real and authentic. And that's why I like to do the live version so that people can talk and share their opinions as well. So, yeah. So if you're watching live, great. You can throw your comments in and out. If you watch later on, you can throw your comments into the comment section, either on the Facebook page or on YouTube. Just a reminder, I know I've reminded you guys a couple times over the past couple of episodes, but Facebook has changed the way they do things, and now they no longer allow you to archive videos. They won't hold on to videos anymore. Excuse me. They delete everything after 30 days. So there's no more live video after 30 days. So you can go back and watch it for 30 days, recommend it to somebody, or you can always go to the YouTube page to find it, as well as when I upload to Spotify. You can watch it on Spotify. So there's that. I got some water too with my bourbon. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. And so before we get started, I had a couple of things that I wanted to kind of just plug or pass out. First of all, if you noticed on the page earlier today, I was plugging a friend of mine out of Nashville, Graham Nancaro, who is a struggling country music artist who needs your help. And I wouldn't say struggling, he's having a good time, but I'm sure he can still use your help. So if you go to Spotify and you look at Spotify for him, you'll see this Spotify. This is Nancaro. That's his personal. So there's other stuff up there, but so the record companies own those particular Spotify's. This one is the one he owns and he uploads to. So he will get the credit for everything if you go on there and do that one. And also his website here is nancaromusic.com. Really traditional country style music, Bakersfield sound out of California. He's a San Diego Padre, so that's unfortunate because I'm a Braves fan, but we love him anyway. So, but hey, he's got a new song coming out on August 22nd, I believe it is. It's called Summertime, and he has given me permission to play a little bit for you. So I'm going to do that here real quick. And I don't know if YouTube and Facebook are going to allow it. They may cancel me out here and send me an email telling me that I can't do it. But Graham Nancaro has said that I could play a sneak peek. So here's that for you. And then we'll get started. So yeah, there's that. That's Graham Nancaro. If you're ever in Nashville, you can go on his website here, nancaromusic.com, and find out where he's going to be, and give him a listen. The live shows, great guy, great music, and I try to get on a Spotify page every day and give it a listen. But Spotify again this is Nancaro. That's the page you want to look for. So yeah, give him a listen. Definitely not like this pop crap that's on the country music radio today. So I'm traditional country and 80s, 70s and earlier. So he definitely has a good sound. and oddly enough, started out as a punk rocker. So, but he is living the dream now. And so, if you go on, or I'm sure he wouldn't mind you hitting him up on Venmo and throwing him some money if you listen to him to help him around. So, um, also wanted to give a shout out to my buddy Jeff Brown. I'm trying to get that in the best light I can. HometownHeroesAlliance.org. Jeff Brown is a friend of mine, a mentor, a former colleague. We worked together for several years at the agency. And so his organization, HometownHeroesAlliance.org, does a lot of good stuff for law enforcement, and firefighters, anybody, first responders that's been injured in the line of duty or is in need of assistance. So make sure you hit that website up, HometownHeroesAlliance.org. So yeah, the reason we're all here tonight is this officer-involved shooting out of Fountain Valley, California. And don't forget, if you guys are here watching, give me a shout so I know you're here watching, so I know who's here. Yeah, so this video out of Fountain Valley, California, officer-involved shooting. I'll set it up for you a little bit because I didn't. It's a screen grab that I did, but and it's from a YouTube page called Police Action, and so give them credit for that. But basically, 911 gets a call that this individual walking around, that he attempted to, I don't know if it was carjacking but he attempted to open the car door of someone at a school. She was in the car. She was able to get away. And so officers are out and about looking for this guy. And one of them comes across him, gets out of the car with him, starts talking to him. And at some point, he goes to detain him. At that point, the guy takes off on foot. There's a foot pursuit in which the guy is able to get away. Another officer, who happens to be a female officer, sitting in her car, probably has driven around looking for this guy as well. Now, when the first officer loses this guy in the foot pursuit, he tells everybody over the radio, "Hey, if you see him, just let him go. He's going to run. He's already run once." So, in this video, we're gonna see where.
Dispatch. Hey, it's front desk. I'm patching a 95 subject.
We're gonna see where this is just the first call of the dispatcher, and then you're gonna see a scrub, really good scrub, where it goes into the foot pursuit, and then I stop it, and the screen grab starts where female officer is in her car, and we'll kind of break it down from there. So,
last seen Slater and Los Jardines West.
So there you can see, I know it's really quick, but it's kind of a lengthy foot pursuit. And then this portion of the video is actually after the female officer makes contact with him. She's out of her car at this point. This guy, which you'll see in a minute, has her firearm on him, this suspect, and he's about to run and get into her car. And this officer has arrived on the scene, and basically what he's doing here, this is his body cam video. He's screaming at this guy, drop the weapon, get on the ground, all that kind of stuff. At this point, you can see, okay, shots have already been fired here. So ultimately, this guy does lose his life. But here's where it starts. So you see the video. You see she's on the radio at some point. You see her reach down. It seems to me what she's doing down here in this area is probably putting her overhead lights on. It looks like she pushes a couple buttons and maybe slides the rocker over. And it is, I would imagine, at this point in time, because you're going to see how relatively soon after this bit here, we're using this for educational purposes. Again, I hate to critique, but at the same time, I think it helps us to get better. So you're going to see how quick from this point when I started again to the point where he makes where the suspect rounds her car, relatively short. So I'm assuming at this point that she has seen him in some way, shape, or form. So at this point, you can see he's made his way around the door. She's got her gun out, pointing it obviously at him. And so the first thing I want to talk about here is the fact that her gun's out. Now, we know this guy, just according to information, we don't know anything about any weapons or anything like that. We know he was acting crazy. We know that he tried to lift the door handle on somebody's car and get into that car. But we don't know if he's armed at this point or not. We know that the other officer on the radio said, hey, if you see this guy, let him go. So I don't know if she just happened to be sitting where she was sitting and this guy just happens to be relatively close around the corner and comes up to her, or if she's still actively looking for him. I don't know. I don't know what the context is. And of course, nothing has been released right now because it's still an active investigation. So ultimately, I don't know her name, her training, how long she'd been an officer with this particular department, how long she'd been on patrol in this particular assignment. I don't know how long she's been a police officer in general. If this is her first job or what have you. But she's out, or she's seated in her car. She's got her firearm out, her pew out, so that YouTube and Facebook don't cancel me for saying the other word. And so the first thing I want to talk about is this. So she's got her weapon drawn. Can you articulate that? I mean, yeah, he's walking up on you, relatively skinny guy. I don't know what size she is, but relatively skinny guy here. But she's got her firearm out. I'm certain that if you're able to articulate, by size or stature, or hey, I wasn't sure if he was armed at this point, so I wanted to make sure I was safe before I reholstered. There's that. So I do have a concern with the firearm being out, and you're about to see why. And there we go. So obviously at this point, he's grabbed a hold of the firearm. She's only got, from what I can see at this point, one hand on the firearm. So he's about to grab it with both hands. And yeah, I mean, it's a little concerning to me. Now, for instance, if you're going to have it out, you might consider a compressed ready where it's, up against your chest, you've got both hands on the firearm. And at some point, if you have to engage, you punch out. But she doesn't do that. She immediately presents the firearm to him. So, let me see if I can, there we go. Nope, I don't like that. I want the video, so I'm going to remove me. And I'm going to add myself back. There we go. So again, right here, you see he's grabbing the firearm. She's still only got one hand on the firearm or the gun. I don't know why. I don't know if she's trying to get her seatbelt off. She had her seatbelt still on. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on there. So still only got one hand on there. The struggle. He's saying over here, you're saved in Jesus' name. You're saved in Jesus' name. You're saved in Jesus' name. And then some of the stuff he's saying is inaudible. You can't tell what he's saying, but you're saved in Jesus' name, forever. Struggling over the firearm still. She's only got one hand on the firearm. He's got both. And right there, he is able to get the gun away from her. The firearm, the weapon, whatever word I'm not going to get canceled with. But he's able to grab that, and he's now got control of that. Now, if you notice, at some point right here, please don't shoot me, please don't shoot me, she's screaming. I think, if I'm not mistaken, a magazine is on the ground. I believe the magazine may have come out of the weapon. So she's retreating at this point. He's got the firearm. She is retreating behind this mail truck here. And again, here is another problem I have with all of this. granted, he's got the gun, so I don't know that he's at a tactical advantage, but he's definitely winning the lethality of the situation at this point. She has, several other tools. I don't know what all they carry, but I'm sure there's a taser involved. I'm sure maybe an asp or some sort of nightstick or spray. But he is definitely winning the lethality at this point because he has the firearm. And the problem I have with this is, and thanks, Hope, for the comment. And Hope, you'll probably agree with this. In all my years of training and experience at the sheriff's office, I constantly heard from those people who are doing the training is that the body can't go where the mind hasn't been. And so we were constantly taught to mentally prepare ourselves for the fight, because most of the stuff that we do in law enforcement, we don't have to mentally prepare for. It's not hard to prepare to go to take a report call for a burglary. It's not hard to go take a report call for a theft or trespassing. It's not hard to do that. So a lot of the majority of the mental preparation you have is for this type of thing right here, for this type of incident, for something where you're going to have to, at some point, have your firearm out, your taser out, something that's going to end up causing some sort of use of force. So her mind is definitely not in this fight. She has retreated to the point where she's behind this. I'm assuming that it's at some point, because when she was on the ground earlier in this, she did say, if we can go back to it, let's get back a little bit farther. When she first goes down to the ground, she does say, "He has my gun. He has my gun. He has my gun." So I'm assuming that that's over the radio. I don't know, because now both hands are on the ground. So I don't know that she has put that out across the radio. I can assume that she said it went out across the radio only because, or maybe this other officer that runs up and ends up, taking care of business, maybe he heard her say that audibly. So again, please don't shoot me.
Please don't shoot me. Please don't shoot me.
She retreats behind this mail truck, and she is mentally not prepared for this. And it's obvious to me, or at least I'm going to say that it appears to me that she has never been mentally prepared for this kind of situation. Now, I told you, if you noticed my lead up posts to the show tonight, I did one about an hour and a half before we went live, and I said, grab your popcorn because I'm going to be controversial. Here's a little bit of that controversy, and then I'm going to go deeper. So get ready for that. I hope you got your popcorn. This young lady has never been mentally prepared, in my opinion, for this type of situation. She's not in this fight. She's not trying to win this fight. She has given up on this fight. And she, at this point, she is just a witness. She is just a non-participant in this entire thing from here on out. And watch. There's nothing good that she does here. She does nothing good in this situation. So here you can hear the other officer put it down. He's already coming up. He's coming up. So where the tree is back there, he's coming down that sidewalk and confronting the guy that has the weapon. At this point, you can see the officer making his way around to the side of the car. Let me go back just a hair there and play that. So there you can hear the ensuing pew fight. I don't know that the bad guy with the gun in the car ever fired around, but he's in a car, and we can talk about that if you guys want to. If somebody mentioned something, we can talk about the fact that, okay, now this guy's in a car. Is he really a threat? He does have a firearm. He does have a weapon. In my opinion, yeah, he is a threat because he has access to other stuff now. We don't know what else is in that car. Now, I'm going to assume that because she's not mentally prepared for this fight, that she's not mentally prepared for other fights. So I'm going to assume that she probably doesn't have any other of her own personal firearms, a backup or anything like that in the car. But there may very well be a rifle, a shotgun, something like that, that is from the agency. So now he has access to other things. So I don't have a problem with what the other officer does in taking care of business here. She makes her way around the front of the car. Now, I'll be honest with you. She wasn't in much of a fight. She really wasn't. I mean, we can go back here and look at this, and I really want you to pay attention to kind of how long this thing lasts, because she's not in a fight right now. She's just trying to hold on to the firearm. He gets to get away right there. She goes to the ground. I mean, I agree that the adrenaline's probably up here. The anxiety is up. She's obviously scared to death. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't be. She should probably be scared because he's got the lethality win right now, and she doesn't have anything to really defend herself with. So, but I mean, just listen to her reaction to this whole thing. She's out of breath. I mean, she had a 3-second struggle for her gun. And she's just out of it. I mean, she's out of breath. She's out of the fight. She is mentally just checked out on this entire thing. She acts like, she got injured here. She acts like, something happened to her. She acts like something happened to her there. And she was never injured. I mean, she had no injuries. So, the reason I wanted to show that in all reality is because, for education, I want you guys to understand, especially the young guys, young gals who are still in law enforcement. I realize that most of the people that watch my show are retired, and I appreciate that. It does get passed along to the younger guys, and the younger guys do watch it. They don't comment, because I have talked to a lot of people that don't comment because they're afraid to, well, not afraid. Their concern is that somebody at our agency will see them commenting or liking or making suggestions, and therefore ultimately they will get some backlash for that. Because I don't have any, particular problem with calling out things that I see. Like I said, I'm critical because I think we need to get better at things. And so this particular incident, where she decided to present her firearm to this guy, because that's what she does. I mean, if we go back to it and we look at it, somewhere around here. Here she is getting out of the car, or at least opening her car door. I'd already been out of the car at this point. I'd have probably been out of the car a lot sooner than she was. Before that guy even got to the car, I'd have probably been out of the car. But she is immediately, she just presents the firearm to the guy. It's like, here, you can have it. It's all yours. You want this? It's yours. So there's better ways to have retention on your weapon. For one, she's obviously not paid attention to her training, or not been trained properly, or just has no clue. I'm not gonna. I can tell you that yeah, exactly. Hope. I agree with you. For her at this point, I think she's probably justified. Again, I talked earlier about, well, we don't know a lot about him. So if you're out of the car quick enough, I don't think you need to shoot this guy. If you're command presence and your your body, your stance, everything about you. If you get out of the car on this guy quick enough, I don't think you have to fight him, or at least shoot him. You might have to fight him, but I don't think you have to shoot him. Her at this point, I mean, she's well deep into it, and he's grabbed the gun. So at this point, you're going to have to fight that battle in court about whether you were justified in pulling the gun. But right here, I'm winning this fight with, the unload button. So, but like I said, I'm getting out of this car well before she did. I know she saw him. She had to have seen him because, like I said, if we watched the video earlier, she puts her, it looks like she throws the rocker on for the lights and pushes a button, which would, either put her, I don't know, her steady burns on, or just the rears, or just the front lights. I don't know. I don't know how their cars are set up, but it looks like she touches her lights. So she recognizes that he's there because she puts her radio down. She turns on her lights. So she recognizes at some point, hey, this guy is here. This is the guy. So I'd have stepped out right away. I'd have probably, if he got to my door, and I don't believe he would have got to my door, but if he gets to my door, me in particular, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to have my gun out at this point. A throat punch, something like that to get him to back off. Palm heel strike, something to get this guy away. But she doesn't do that. She presents the firearm to him. So, there's a lot of problems I see with that. And one of the largest problems is what I talked about, is the lack of preparation on her part, because she was mentally not prepared to be there. And I'm not sure, and this is just my opinion, I'm not sure she's prepared to be a cop. She was worn out from doing nothing. And a lot of that has to do with, I'm sure the adrenaline dump and stuff like that. But she was not prepared at all. And that's a scary situation for me. And so here's where I'm going to get a little more controversial. A couple more people have logged on tonight, so you came in at the right point. You'll have to go back and watch the rest of it. And I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, because I am not one of those people that says that women do not belong in law enforcement. We'll just have to agree to disagree if you think that that's the case, that women don't belong in law enforcement. But because I worked around plenty of good people, one of them watching tonight, plenty of good females that take care of business, do their job, have the ability, are mentally prepared, are physically prepared for the job, and can do what they need to do just as good as anybody else. However, there is this national push, and here's where I'm going to get controversial. And if you disagree with me and unfriend me, I'm okay with that. If we can't disagree and still be friends, probably aren't friends anyway. So this 30 by 30 push that's going on nationwide, in my opinion, is a liberal tactic to reduce the number of people who are arrested. Ever since this whole George Floyd and the BLM riots and all that kind of stuff, we've seen liberal prosecutors put in place by George Soros that were voted in that said, well, I'm not going to prosecute these crimes. We have seen liberal judges who are letting people out on bond who are accused of murder. There's a lot of things going on, but this 30 by 30, if you're not familiar with it, currently the numbers they say are that females are represented in law enforcement, I think 12%, and it goes up to 14% if you look at academies and things like that. So 12% of the workforce in law enforcement is female. And so they want it to be 30% by 2030, which is 5 short years from now. I have a couple of problems with it, and I'm not saying that I have a problem with 30% representation. What I have a problem with is the fact that there are premises. their premise, some of their premises. I'm a cop, not an English major. Some of the things that they say about this are just flat out lies to me. They're manipulations of the facts in order to prevent. First of all, they want males out of cops. They want males out of everything, because males are toxic and we're the problem. But anyway, I digress. But one of the things that they say in a 30 by 30 is that women have used less force and use less excessive force. And that's two separate things. So they use less force, allegedly use less force, and use less excessive force. Now, here's the problem I have with that. Those two statements they presuppose that the level of force or force in and of itself is determined by the law enforcement officer. And that's a flat out lie, because who determines the level of force, or who determines whether force is used or not? Certainly not the law enforcement officer. I never once got out of a patrol car and said, I'm going to go get into a fight. I'm going to go beat somebody up. I'm going to go break their arm. I'm going to go shoot them. I'm going to go whip them with a nightstick. I'm going to go spray. I never got out of a car saying that, unless, of course, I was responding to somebody else that was already involved in something, and that was going to be how we handle business when we got out of the car for our part of the help. That being said, the suspect, the defendant, the bad guy, they're the ones who determine force and the level of force. So to say that women use less force or less excessive force is based on a lie, because female officers do not determine how much force they're going to use or if they're going to use force at all. That is determined by the suspect. So when it comes to, if you say, okay, well, a woman is less likely to use force, but if the suspect, the bad guy, the defendant, decides that he's going to use force because he's made that determination and it's a female, one of two things is going to happen. She's either going to get really hurt really bad, or she's going to use force or excessive force. She's not going to have a choice, because she doesn't determine that. The cop doesn't determine that. The law enforcement officer doesn't determine what level of force or if force is used at all. That's the suspect. So that's the first premise that I disagree with in their agenda. The next thing that I disagree with is the 30 by 30. The premise, one of their premises, is that women they make less discretionary arrests. Meaning, if you go to a call and you have a choice between arresting somebody and not arresting somebody, they choose to not arrest somebody more often than a male will. And they add on to that women are less likely to make an arrest with non-white suspects. Again, in 25 years of law enforcement, and if you're on here and you're in law enforcement and you want to comment on this, I don't have an issue with that either. Back in the day of policing, we called that late. Yeah. I mean, those are the people that I saw. A funny thing the other day, Hope, that said a thing on Facebook. It said, it showed the picture of that little, I think he's a Russian dwarf, midget, little person. Showed him walking, doing his little walk, and it said, me on my way to HR after I called a co-worker C-section because he's afraid of labor. I thought that was hilarious. I'm going to use that for the future. But yeah, that was laziness. But I never once got out of a car and said to anybody, you're going to jail because you're black. You're not going to jail because you're white. You're not going to jail because you're Hispanic, or you're going to jail because you're Native American. I never did that. And if you've had somebody that you've dealt with if you're watching this and you're not in law enforcement, but you've had experiences with law enforcement, and you've ever had somebody say that to you, hey, you're so and so, you're a female, you're black, you're Hispanic, you're white, you're going to go to jail because I don't like you. I don't like your people. Like, what is that? I've never heard anybody say that. Never said that myself. So to say that women are less likely to make discretionary arrests based on the color of skin, I think is also a lie. And if you ask me, that lie is based on the BLM movement. That lie is based on liberals wanting to see less people go to jail. Now, if that's what it is, just call it what it is. Just, let George Soros come on TV and say, the reason that we're doing this, the reason that we got 30 for 30 out there, the reason that we have this liberal policy or this liberal agenda out there is because we want to see less people in jail. Just call it what it is. I don't have a problem with that. But, don't pee on me and tell me it's raining. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with that premise at all. Another thing they say, and this is certainly not an exhaustive list of 30 by 30. Go look at it for yourself if you want to, if you're that interested in it. Again, I don't mind being controversial because I think it's a liberal agenda to keep people out of jail. I think that's all this is, because, if we get more women in leadership roles, if we get more women in law enforcement, then less people go to jail because they're not mean and nasty and like men. Our job is to put people in jail. Our job is not to go out and take reports. Our job is to put bad people in jail. The reports just come along with all that stuff. But the goal of any law enforcement officer is to protect the community. And by protecting the community, that means putting bad people in jail. The ones who are out there committing that burglary, committing that theft, doing the trespassing. That's our job. So if I'm controversial and you think I'm degrading women, far from it. I really don't believe that. And I hope you don't think that I think that, because I'm saying all of this. There are plenty of great women in law enforcement in leadership roles that can do the job. So I'm just saying we can't put a number on things. First of all, because we can't force women to be law enforcement. We just can't. I mean, you can't go out there and go, we're going to have 30% by 2030. And because women are going to want to be in law enforcement. That's just not the case. You can't do that. You can't force women to do that. And if we're hiring people just because they're women so that we get to the 30 by 30, that is also wrong. Because as much as we argue about having the right person for the right job, the right person being promoted into the right position, and we talk about how it should be the quality of our work and not what boxes we check off, it's the same thing here. You can't just hire women just to hire women. I don't think women deserve any different in law enforcement than men do. I think it's all equal. I don't think men should get any unfair or better treatment. I don't think women should get any better or unfair treatment. It's just, that's the nature of the job. Doesn't allow you to just pick people up to bring into it so that you can have a number and so that you can create what you think is a friendlier law enforcement agency. And that's another thing that they talk about in the 30 by 30 is they want to say that by promoting women into managerial roles, that more friendly policing policies are created. Well, what is a friendly policing policy? I don't understand it. Because again, we have one role, we have one job, protecting the community. And that is not a friendly job most of the time. I'm not saying that you're not going out there making relationships, building a rapport with the people in the community. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that the goal is to protect people, to prevent harm to people. And that is not friendly in most instances, because when you're dealing with the dregs of society, you're most likely going to offend, you're most likely going to injure, you're most likely going to step on people's toes. And so friendly policing policies is another, in my opinion, it's another liberal phrase that dumbs down law enforcement, that prevents law enforcement from doing our job, and basically handcuffs us, behind our back, and puts a lock on the firearm so you can't draw it. It's just my opinion, but I think that's where we're headed, unfortunately. And it's not because of 30 by 30. It's not because, women in law enforcement. It's because we have these liberal administrations who, I promise you, in most people's opinions whom I've talked to, their concern is that these liberal administrations are more concerned with the optics of everything than they are concerned with the well-being of the people who work for them. They are more concerned about protecting their own jobs and keeping their own power than they are about enforcing the rules, enforcing the laws. I can tell you, in 2019, 2020, 2021, there was not a lot of police work going on because, and I shared the story with you where my guys, when I was a sergeant in the TAC unit, my guys, it was during COVID, stopped out with an abandoned car on the side of the road, happened to have two people inside of it. One of them was a male who had a warrant for murder. They grabbed him, ended up, he had some sort of infection on his arm, and they had to take him to the hospital. He had to be medically cleared. Now, of course, I get a phone call from the HR department, the HR director, telling me or asking me what I thought I was doing because we were told that they didn't want this type of contact being made with people because of COVID. We're not trying to get people sick. And I, proceeded to tell the person, hey, if you want to let the sheriff know that we caught a guy that has a warrant for murder, and if he doesn't want us to do that anymore, I can go grab some board games and some cards, and we can go to the office, and we can sit in the office and do nothing. And then I hung up. And so, that's what we've got right now. And I fear that that's what policies like the 30 by 30 are creating. Again, I don't have an issue with women in law enforcement. I know there's people out there that do. I know there's people out there that have podcasts that do, that are former law enforcement. And some of their stuff I enjoy, and some of their stuff, I respectfully disagree with. And that's okay. And so hopefully you don't turn on me and then decide that you don't like me anymore. If you do, you'll probably never like me anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, there's only a couple here logged on right now, but what do you guys think? Leave some comments when you watch this. Where do you think we're headed? What do you think about the video that I showed? What do you think about some of her tactics? Obviously, her tactics are horrible. But, again, I do these things for education for you guys, especially for young guys and gals that are still in law enforcement, because I want you to see things like this and understand that, again, the body won't go where the mind hasn't been. If you haven't mentally prepared for this stuff, then you're going to get hurt, or you're going to hurt somebody else. And so take a look at that video again when you watch it back. Look at some of the things maybe I didn't notice. It's a scary situation, and she just happens to be female. It's not, the fact that I showed the video, the fact that I went to the 30 by 30 with this is because she was a female, and that's where my mind went when I watched it, because I've seen a lot of hiring just because, you know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of promoting just because. And so I don't agree with that. Again, the right person for the right job. But she just happened to be a female. It could be the same thing with a male sitting in that car that did the same exact thing. I'd still have every bit of problem with what was done. She was not tactically sound. She was not prepared for that fight. Take a look at it and let me know. I mean, like I said, knowing where I think she saw this guy, where, he's coming across the front of her car, at what point I assumed that she saw that guy, I would have already been out of that car door. He would have had a chance to get inside my car door. And if we had to fight, we'd have been fighting right there on the side of the road, right at the front of the car. I wouldn't have had my gun out. That's me. You may have wanted to have yours out. I can assure you that if I'm going to do a compressed, ready position where the gun is against my chest, and if I have to punch out and go to work, I will. But understand that everything you do, you're introducing a gun to a gunfight, or a gun to the situation, whether it's on your hip, whether it's in your hand. And you have to decide for yourself, where that's going to be and when that's going to be. So, yeah, I mean, if you think I'm controversial or not, I appreciate you watching anyway. Again, want to just give a plug to Graham Nancaro, buddy of mine out of Nashville. I say buddy, I mean, we keep in contact a little bit. I saw him play one night at Alan Jackson's. Actually saw him at Chiefs the night before, and then saw him play at Alan Jackson's Good Time Bar. And he was gracious enough after the show to sit down and drink beers with us for a couple hours and had some great conversations. So I got to get up to Nashville and see him again, or one of his other shows. Graham Nancaro, nancaromusic.com. You can go to Spotify and see him at This Is Nancaro. That's his set. That's his play set that he actually uploads and gets credit for. So that's the one I want you to go to, not any of the others that are on there. New music coming out summertime, August 22nd. Played a little bit for you at the beginning. So take a shot at listening to him, add him to your Spotify, or go grab an album or something and help him out. Again, if you get a chance, make sure you run over to hometownheroesalliance.org. This is my buddy Jeff Brown's organization, does some great things for some people. Just played golf out there in April. So help them out, make a donation. Hit him up on Facebook, on the Hometown Heroes Alliance on Facebook. Tell him I sent you. You can do multiple things to make donations with him, which it explains on his website. So go out there and give him a shout. So, guys, I appreciate you being here. I thank you so much for everything you guys do. Hope, congratulations on your retirement. I'm happy for you. Now it's time to enjoy a little bit. Don't be too rushed. I know you've been looking, but don't be too rushed to get back into it. Take a breather for a little bit, and you guys enjoy life for a little bit, and enjoy the grandbabies, and have some fun. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate what you do. I appreciate your following. If you don't mind, if you would, let me get rid of my banner. Up here you see like and subscribe. Like the Facebook page if you would. Give me a shout, I'll add you to it. And then if you want to, I would appreciate it if you go to the YouTube channel, which is Blue Truth and Bourbon Podcast, and subscribe to that channel. That way you guys can catch up on the past episodes, and you will definitely be able to watch the episodes that come in the future, but you'll be able to, the ones that get, obviously the ones that get deleted by Facebook here at 30-day mark, you can still catch on YouTube, the YouTube channel, or on Spotify. So like and subscribe, that would be great. I don't get any money for it, but the subscriptions, help me out to let me know that there's people out there watching that are liking the content. And we're going to have some guests on here shortly, and do some talking about some different things. I hope to have a couple of different people on, some experts. I plan to have a few of my associates, my friends on, to talk about some things that are coming up in the future, as well as some old buddies that talk about some of the war stories, what they're doing after law enforcement, to give you guys some ideas of things that you can do to, once you retire in the future, things that you can get into, things that you can do. So hopefully have a lot of more content that you guys appreciate and you can pass along to your friends. Again, if you don't mind, when you like and subscribe, let your friends know that we're out there, that we're here every one. I think I'm going to be doing every Wednesday now at 7 p.m. So just, yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. Help me out, like and subscribe. Donate money to Hometown Heroes Alliance, and go listen to Graham Nancaro. Great music, and the Hometown Heroes Alliance, great organization run by great people. So give them a helping hand, and I'll see you next week.